For more stories like these, go to www.social-tv.co.za, subscribe to us on YouTube, and follow us on our social mediums.
As we find out more about the pandemic and the effect it has on our community, our society, and our emotional well-being, of course, it goes without saying that we'll start focusing on different sectors of our communities. And something we haven't spoken about on social newscasts is the impact of the pandemic on the elderly, on our seniors within our communities and our country. Now, for those that don't know, that more and more people over the age of 65 are living alone. And that's roughly an increase of about 20% in 2020. That's nearly 1 million people aging alone. Today we have a chat to Catherine de Kock, who is co-founder of CareChamp. Catherine, thank you very much. Before we even start talking about senior isolation, let's maybe talk about your organization, CareChamp. What does it do?
Okay, so CareChamp is a home care agency. We provide care nationwide, and basically we connect caregivers, quality caregivers to homes throughout South Africa. So not only caregivers, which is a healthcare assistant, but also registered nurses and companions.
Now, recently your organization investigated senior isolation, loneliness amongst the elderly. And what were some of the findings?
Yeah, so basically we used the UCLA loneliness scale, and we asked our caregiver champs to go out into the field and ask their, on behalf of their elderly clients, to kind of assess how lonely they're feeling right now, especially because of coronavirus and isolation. And what they came back with is that they are at the second highest level of loneliness according to the UCLA loneliness scale. It's just below extreme loneliness. And just to give you an example, some of the questions that we had them ask was, how often does your client feel as if nobody really understands them? How often does your client find themselves waiting for people to call or write? Yeah, that should give you a sense of the kinds of questions that we were asking.
And Catherine, we are obviously not the experts you are. Why should we be worried about seniors feeling isolated and lonely?
So there has been quite a bit of research done in this area, and isolation and loneliness can have severe negative impacts on the health of seniors. Seniors who suffer from loneliness have, for example, a 59% higher risk of physical and mental health decline, a 45% greater risk of mortality, and a 64% higher risk of dementia. So it is, I think more research has been done in the past decade or so than ever before, because I think we're really starting to understand that it's not just physical impact that we should be concerned about in elderly, but mental too.
When you listen to the experts speak, they're saying that senior people, they have the opportunity to, people that are older work for longer. They go into third and fourth careers. Somebody might argue that isn't it just as simple as that? If you are a sprightly, energetic 65-year-old, I mean, you've got nothing to complain about.
So a number of contributing factors increase the possibility of seniors becoming socially isolated. You've mentioned maybe they're working for longer, so retirement might not be one. But like the older you get, the more of your loved ones will start to pass away. So potentially death of a spouse, or of course then there comes the lacking access to transportation, because at some point you will no longer be able to drive. like more and more people are having fewer children. So that leaves you with less children to potentially take care of you, or less children who are visiting, and smaller extended families. And then what we're seeing more and more is younger people migrating. So the younger family members moving overseas. And then, of course, chronic health problems that prevent them from being as mobile as they used to be.
Are some of these problems exacerbated by the fact, Catherine, that older people are living much longer than they used to?
Yes, that's definitely a factor.
Now
And
yeah, sorry.
sorry to interrupt you, but what we've also seen is there's definitely a preference for continuing to live at home. And so even though they're getting older, they still want their privacy and their freedom and their independence, which they value far greater than being kept company. So that's why we've seen such a drastic increase in the elderly aging alone.
There's also a steady increase in the amount of older people living alone in South Africa. As of this year, it's sitting at 20%, right?
Correct.
That's close to a million seniors aging alone. How do we compare to the rest of the world? Does the rest of the world take better care of the elderly?
So I don't know a lot about that. I know that there are certain areas of the world where they actually go so far as to consider the elderly in the way that they build homes and in their architecture. So in order so that somebody might be able to actually age in place in their own homes for a lot longer, because there are so many things to consider in and around the home to make it safe for an elderly person to age in place. And I'm not entirely sure exactly how they do it in the rest of the world, but I know that's one interesting fact I found out.
Just to talk, final question, to talk about Care Camp and some of your initiatives. You've created a companion service, but also you've created a project called Befriend a Grandparent.
Yes.
Talk to me about that.
Okay, so Befriend a Grandparent is a movement that we've started, and it's basically the crux is to help the elderly feel a little less lonely. So anyone can sign up, chat online with stand-in grandparents, and that can be a video call, which we suggest because it's always so nice to see a friendly face. Or it can be, you can act as a pen pal, or you can email each other. So we basically call, you can either sign up as a friend or as a grandparent. So if you're signing up as a friend, then really all you need is an internet connection. And same as if you're signing up as a grandparent. And what we have a dedicated one of our care coordinators, and she actually she spends quite a bit of time matching the right friend with the right grandparent. Yeah, so it's going very well so far.
I kind of love it. It's like grab a granny, right?
Yes, exactly. Yeah. And so I actually got matched with a grandparent, and we found out that we had so much in common, and she's given me book recommendations, and we keep in touch, and it's lovely. So basically, the whole idea behind it is that we have so much to learn from different generations, and the stories and the anecdotes, and and it goes both ways. There's been a lot of research done about how having an elderly person in your life is very advantageous for a younger person, and of course, vice versa.
Yeah, that sounds like a fantastic program. Catherine, somebody wants to know more. Where can they go? How can they grab a granny or a grandpa? How can they support your initiative and your programs?
So you just have to go to our website. It's kchamp.co.za. And there's a big banner at the top of the website that says sign up, click here to befriend a grandparent. and then there's a sign-up form online, or you can always phone one of our care coordinators, and they'll be happy to assist you with signing up.